Hey, welcome back. All right, so in this tutorial, we are going to make our platform model. In the last tutorial, we went over material slots and how to add material slots into a model. We either make an Unreal Engine or one that we can import. We're going to do that again. We'll go over it again with this tutorial, but a little bit differently. So let me go ahead and show you what we're going to be working on this time. So here's the platform. This is the platform that we're going to create. We're going to use it in the game to make it so that we can use it as like an elevator for going up and down, as a platform that gets from one obstacle to another, so horizontally here. And then also using the spline system that we're going to set up with it, you can also create very long splines so that in this case, this platform goes all the way around from over here, all the way around the game down to here. So let me go ahead and hit play real quick. So when I hit play, and I interact. So we already have the interact system set up. We're going to use that same interact system. When I hit the interact button, E, the platform moves up and it'll move down. After a few seconds, it will reset itself and go back to where it began. And you can see that on the screen color changes as well. So we're going to set all of that up in the blueprint once we create this model. So let's go ahead and jump in and create the model. So right here is our world, and this is the model that I was just demonstrating. I'm going to use it here as a reference to create the model we're going to make now. So in our scene, we're going to go ahead and go to modeling, and then we're going to select create, and we're going to select box. And when we set our box up, by default, it's 100 by 100 by 100, which happens to match the grids on the material that is set up on our ground right now out here. So that world grid material set up for 1 by 1 by 1, right? 100, 100, 100. So now what I want to do is I'm going to make this so that this is about 200 wide and by 200 deep. So, or 200 rather, 200 wide and 300 deep. That's going to put it something like that. And then for the actual height of it, we're going to change it from 100, we're going to change it to 5. It's going to make it kind of thin because we're going to make this a roll-on, roll-off ramp for our rollerball. All right, so once we have that set up, we're going to make sure that we save it in the folder we want it in. Right now, my current folder is one I created in Mesh called Platforms. You can see I have several iterations of this. We're going to have one more. So I'm going to go ahead and hit accept. And if I take back in that drawer, there it is right there. This is the one we're working on right here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put the edges on it like we have here to help keep our rollerball on it and also to give it a little bit more structure like a platform. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to move down here to model. We're going to select polygroup, edit, and then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put some edge loops in. But let's talk about this real quick, what we're looking at. So right now when I'm hovering over it, this entire face is green. This is the face. If I hover over an edge, that's an edge. So you see that green line right there. And then the little corner, that's a vertice. That is a vertice. So in order for us to have a face, we have to have at least 3 vertices. So 1, 2, and 3 would make a triangle. This one is a quad because it has 4 vertices with 4 edges, and that makes this a quad, right? Okay, some other things to take a look at over here. In the selection filter, by default, all of these are turned on, and that's okay. But I've also turned on this one right here where we're going to select an edge loop because we're going to create some edge loops and we're going to need to move them. And when we move them, we could go around and we could select each individual edge by, selecting it, hold it, click it, hold the shift button, select the next one, right? But with an edge loop, with this tool right here that's an Unreal Engine, it automatically selects all 4 of those for us for our edge loop, so we don't have to worry about that. So let's go ahead and create the edge loops. So right here under Shape Edits, we're going to do Insert Edge Loop. And then when I hover over it, you can see I get one edge loop. And we could put one here, and we could put one here. But there's also, I wanted it to have some symmetry. I want this side and this side to be equal in size. So what we could do is, instead of using proportion offset, I can select even. And then right here where it says number of loops, change it to 2. And then when I hover over it, it'll give me 2. If we put something like 5 in here, and I hover over it, it would give me 5 evenly spaced across that surface. Now I only want 2, so I'm going to change that back to 2. and I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to create the edge loop. I'm going to hit done. Now I want to select these edge loops because I'm going to move them out to the edge. All right, so once I have them selected, using this tool right here turned on so that it's easy to select them, I'm going to hover over the little green square for mine because the way mine is situated, the green is the y-axis. If yours is situated differently, you're going to want to grab either the red, probably the red one if it's turned 90 degrees from the way mine is. I want to push this out. So I'm going to grab this little square, I'm going to drag it, I'm going to push it out to the edge till I get kind of the gap I want. And this will keep it so that these are both the same width. That's what I want to do. The other thing I want you to notice is when we pulled this out, see when I do this, see how it stretches the material? It's stretching the surface of our model here. And it's crunching it down in these two narrower ones over here. We are going to fix that when we do the UVs, but if you were to put a material on this right now, you would end up with a really stretched surface here and a really kind of crunched surface over here on the side. All right, now with that done, we're going to go ahead and hit accept. And what that's going to do is that's going to lock that in. We're going to go back to poly group edit because we're not done yet. And we can see that we have these lines in here, right? It looked like they disappeared, but they're here. So if I'm going to click on the center section here, I'm going to select that face. I'm going to hold the shift button and select that face. And now what I want to do is I want to extrude it. If we take a look at face edits over here, we see that we have extrude and we also have push pull. It seems like they would do the same thing and they're very similar. But one thing with the push pull is if you're going to make a more complex model and you're going to keep adding more edges and cuts, it doesn't necessarily always add the edges in across the surface of the area that you're pushing and pulling. So in other words, if we had like several cuts on this, several edge loops, and we just selected all the faces together and pulled it up, all of those little edges here that would have been in here won't necessarily go along with the push-pull. So we're going to use extrude instead so that that won't happen. So I'm going to click on extrude, and then I'm going to kind of move around until I get the height that I want on my edge over here. And if you can't get it the way you want, you can kind of resituate yourself until you can see it better, and then kind of get it to set the way you want it. I'm going to put up about that height right there. With that done, I'm going to hit accept. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do is we need to add the control panel in. So you see how we have the control panel over here? And the other things about this control panel is with this little screen in here, we used extrude, but we pushed it down instead of pulled it up when we extruded it, so we extruded it downward so that we have these little edges along here. So we're going to also have to add some edge loops in for that. But we're going to do this in phases. We're not going to do it all at once. So I'm going to go back to poly group. I'm going to do insert edge loop. And this time I'm going to change it from even. I'm going to go to proportion offset. And what that does is that allows me to just put one in here wherever I want to set it. I can move it around. If we did, for example, distance offset, we could set it up to a certain distance if we wanted to, but we're just going to go ahead. Either one of those will work. I'm going to do proportion offset. I'm going to select it kind of like right here, kind of like about a half the width or an entire width of one of those squares because they're squished right now. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to select it so that it's kind of wide for our control panel. And that's what our control panel is going to be right here. This is going to be our control panel. I'm going to hit done. I'm going to select that face right there just one time. I'm going to hit extrude. And then I'm going to move this around, reposition myself until I see how I want to do it. The way I'm doing that is I'm holding the shift button and the left mouse. So I'm holding the left and right mouse button so I can kind of pan around like this, right? So I can pan around and see, and I'm going to position this kind of tall, something like that. Okay. So now with that done, I'm going to go ahead and I want to rotate this face a little bit too. So I can either hit accept right here, and then I can extrude the face with the face selected, or I could have done it in the previous mode. So once I get that done, I'm going to rotate this face with it selected, and I'm going to go down to somewhere around probably 30-ish, 40-ish degrees. That might be a little bit much. Maybe like that. All right, so that's the angle and the height that I want for this. Now I'm going to go back to poly group edit again, and now we're going to put in the edge loops for creating our screen. So I'm going to do insert edge loop. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it so I get that width there. And then if I go about there, see how this kind of turns into a square if I get it exactly about the width I want it to be? That'll be all right. I think that's a good amount. It doesn't have to be perfect. Something like that. And then the last one, like that. All right. So now we've got the 4 edges for the inset for our screen. So I'm going to go ahead and say done. I'm going to select that little tiny face that we just created in the middle. I'm going to accept or click on extrude and then kind of reposition myself so I can see what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of a lip so it has an inset, so we can see that it has an inset. And I'm going to go ahead and hit accept. All right. So again, some issues with the model. We're going to have to fix them when we do a UV. You could, like I said, just put one material on this, and what would happen is your material would be kind of stretched here in the middle, kind of funky looking, and they'll be kind of crunched down here on the sides, and then some other things would be going on as well. But once we UV it, then we'll get all that fixed. We'll be able to line everything up the way we want it to, and we'll be able to use the UV islands to be able to apply materials. Apply material slots the way we want them. All right, so that's it for this tutorial. Don't forget to hit save for what you did. And if you have any questions or you have any issues, please put it down in the comment, and I will get back to you once I see it and give you an answer to your question. Don't forget to like this tutorial if you liked what you saw. Don't forget to subscribe so you can follow along with the future tutorials. In the next tutorial, we are going to go ahead and do the UVs. So again, thanks for playing, and I will see you next time.